Now, as I told you, we are going to introduce our roundtable members. Nicole Dymianiw, Shawn Byfield, and Rob Jensen are going to join us right now for our roundtable focusing on tap, because they are all tap judges and tap dancers. Hello, how are you all?
Hello.
Hello,
Good, how
hello,
are
hello.
you?
Amazing.
So, you're
Tap, tap, tap.
amazing. You're good. Nicole, you're good. Everybody is good. I'm good
Great.
too. We are going to jump right into this. I was submitted some questions here, and I love this first question, so I want to get right into it. I'm going to start with Nicole on this one. Who is a famous tap dancer you'd most like to meet?
How do you pick one?
I don't know.
Okay. Let's go with Fred Astaire.
Ooh.
I'd love to meet him. He was just so fluid and personable, and he looks like if you were to meet him for the first time, he would just be your best friend, and as if you'd known each other for a long time. He's just so talented. He had the opportunity to work with so many amazing dancers, and he's one that if I could go back in time, hands down, he would be one that I would like to meet.
Fred Astaire. Rob, how about you? What famous tap would you want to meet?
I'm going to go the same way with Nicole. One of my heroes is Gene Kelly. One of my absolute favorite movies is Singing in the Rain, so absolutely love it. But just the grace, like Nicole said, the grace and fluidity, but the athleticism that the man possessed. Again, triple threat acting dance, all of his different leading ladies. Just choreographic genius, dancer, and really focused on the physicality of his art form. And through the grapevine, you always hear that he was a very precise dancer and always expected the best from his fellow actors and performers. So always love to meet Gene Kelly for sure.
Well, it's interesting you picked two people from exactly the same era who competed with each other, and yet they couldn't have been any different in style. In terms of the way they presented themselves, and yet they both were obviously incredibly talented.
Well, there's
Shawn,
so many different styles of tap too.
Oh, absolutely, and they encompassed a lot of them. Shawn, how about you? I want to hear who would you
For
like
me,
to meet?
it's got to be not one person, but two, the Nicholas brothers.
Yeah.
Nicholas brothers, man, like they were so elegant and so athletic and so classy.
Fearless.
Their poise,
Fearless.
their style, they made it all look so easy and effortless with three-piece suits on. Like, come on, how can I say no to them?
We actually showed a clip early on, the beginning, maybe in 10, 15 episodes. At some point, we showed a clip of them coming down the staircase, and it's just, as I said, effortless and fearless at the same time. And they didn't have editing at that time. This was done live. So very impressive. And all interesting, you all went back, way back.
Way back.
Way back. So let me ask another question. If you had to pick somebody who was more current, and let's start with Nicole, who would you pick? If you couldn't go back to Fred Astaire, but somebody that's currently dancing right now.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Current. Let me see. I would have to choose Chloe Arnold. I think she's super talented, girl power all the way. They are just, you look at, she's not just a tap dancer, she's a performer in a group. Just, they exude personality and technique and talent, and, you could go on and on about what they're all about and their talent, but I think Chloe Arnold, I would love to meet.
Well, Anastasia has actually featured her a few times on her segment, so we definitely know her well. Rob, how about you? Somebody current.
I'm probably gonna have to say maybe somebody like Savion Glover. Just with a whole how he revolutionized tap into Broadway, and at such a young age, but so talented and so fierce, and he just performs with his entire body and his intention, and he's a joy to watch. Absolutely.
Excellent choice. And Shawn, how about you? And you can't say you.
I wasn't going to say me.
I was thinking you might. Okay.
However, I have, not to brag, but I have met Chloe. I have met Savion. And they are like excellent choices. They're so great, but I haven't met Sarah Reich, and she tap dances like I can't even describe her feet and her musicality. There's a fantastic band, Postmodern Jukebox, that she's been touring with as well. And I have been able to see her live, but I haven't been able to connect and say hi, like let's jam, let's tap, let's do something and just learn as much as I can from her. And she's been inspiring so many people, boys, girls, all ages. It's really great to see her.
So Billy is just telling me that Savion Glover was actually in the video that he showed. So if you do get a chance to watch that, he
Okay.
was actually in there. So good choices. That sets the tone. We've given people a lot of dancers to look at, if the current ones, and also if they can go back and watch some of the early stuff, that will give them a lot of inspiration. The next question I have for you, and whoever wants to answer this one, but what is it about tap that grabs your attention? What is the most important element when you're judging that you're looking for? What is it that a dancer should be focusing their elements on to get the highest type scoring? Jump in if you have an answer. If not, I'm going to pick on you.
I'll start, but I'm sure Nicole and Shawn have got extra stuff to add. Because there's so many different styles of tap and subgenres of tap, you're always looking at the techniques and styles of those particular genres. But I'm looking for an overall package. I mean, you're looking at basic technique, you're looking at clarity of sounds, you're looking at musicality, syncopation, articulation, flash, maybe some stomping, some rhythm tap. I love versatile tap dancers. I love tap dancers that can show me the gambit. If you're just giving me like what sometimes I call bullet choreography or machine gun choreography, and you're just doing 2.5 minutes of absolute 30-second notes, that gets a little boring after a while. Give me something different. Show off your versatility. Show off all the tricks that you've got in your bag, just don't show me fast footwork. Show me a nice cluster, and then move off to some syncopation and show me some stop time. Show me variety, and with an entire package. I think we're probably going to discuss this of not just dancing with your feet, but you have to dance with your entire body. It's a performance, and you have an audience. You have to engage them with everything.
And that's great. One of the things I do notice when I watched even the clip that Billy was showing, the different styles. I mean, the feet were doing what the feet were doing, but the different body techniques were very obvious. Some were just flailing away. Some were very, very still. But each had, there was something there that was intriguing and drew you in. So what I'll sum yours up is versatility and range.
Yes.
Nicole, how about you? What would you add to that?
I would have to go off of what Rob said 100%. Musicality really grabs me. Tap is your feet are an added instrument when you're performing. And if it's music to my ears, and it's not just fast footwork, we see a lot of dancers come out and they think it's just a mile a minute, that the faster your feet are moving, the better your routine is, or the better your mark is going to be. But adding that space and that moment, those moments where you can breathe and you can just really sink into the music, into your routine, that really captures my attention. I don't like to be, out of breath or feel exhausted after I'm watching a tap routine. If their feet are going crazy, and then after I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm exhausted watching you. You must be exhausted dancing it. But adding that space and the musicality and the rhythms, and then also, like Rob said, that total package. You can't just be dancing with your arms down or on your hips the entire time. Moving your arms really adds to the overall package, I feel, of a routine.
And Shawn, how about you?
You got it.
Anything to add to that?
Nicole and Rob both have said, like, we're all on the same page here. Another thing I could add to that is an art. In the art world, they have this term called chiaroscuro, and it basically means a contrast between light and dark. It's shading, and I love watching a piece and listening to a piece that has effective use of shading in there. You have moments when you're ba ba da 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 da, but I could do that. That's exciting for me. Now you're drawing me in because now I'll find myself as a judge leaning forward because I want to hear what else is going on. What do they have to say? And then I sit back like, whoa, and I feel like I'm a part of this piece. I'm a part of this whole experience now. It's not just loud, 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 loud. Then I'm going to tap some loud. Then I'll tap really fast. Then I'll tap fast and loud. And I'll tap loud again. Show us this range. And that makes it more just like a symphony.
Yeah.
And how important is it, the range and obviously the technique, but how important is it to also, you mentioned theatricality, how important is it to tell a story?
Stage presence, I would say stage presence is hugely important, right? Obviously, we don't want to see somebody that just has their face down the entire time because you're still concentrating on steps. But we all mentioned performers when you asked us, who we'd like to meet, and they all had amazing stage presence. I could watch Gene Kelly movies all day. I could watch Nicholas Brothers all day long, and they don't even have to be moving their feet. That's the other thing about performance, is that you don't have to tap all the time. You can come on stage, share a phrase, and then do something else with their body, and then move on and still light up the stage and still get great marks from us.
Amen.
Excellent. All right. Well, let me move off the scoring side and let me get to something that is on this list and is important to me as well. What should a dancer be doing to keep themselves healthy and fit and able to perform? Do you have any tips? Let's start with Nicole. What should a dancer be doing?
Obviously, I think, working out or, doing some sort of conditioning classes are really important. Injuries are so prevalent, but if you can, strengthen your ankles, working with TheraBands really works too. Staying healthy. We all like to eat yummy, delicious fast food and everything, but keeping your body healthy, not only now, but for the future is so, so important to, taking care of your feet, icing them. Stretching is so, so important, but also making sure that you're physically fit and healthy from the inside out will ensure a long career in tap and in dance, in the arts in general.
Rob?
Yeah.
Anything to add?
I think one, especially for the younger students, if we're going to go to that type of audience, is always make sure you are going full out in the studio. Always make sure that there's 100% energy, 100% effort, always, because when you get up on that stage in front of those judges, in front of the audience, you're going to want to go full out at that time. But if you're not used to doing it, who knows if your placement's off, your balance, your strength, something could happen in the flash with an ankle or something that you're not used to doing, and it's going to totally throw you off or possibly injure you. I've seen it happen so many times on stage where an ankle gets twisted or a knee or something, or God forbid worse, and the teacher we hear say, well, she never did that in the studio because she's never been doing it full out. So always get it full out. It helps your stamina, it helps your stage presence, like Shawn said. Just going for that energy always, so you're used to performing at that level.
Shawn, I noticed you definitely agreed with that.
Yes, I just wanted to add an amen to that, right? Full out, anytime, any opportunity you get to dance, we should always not take that for granted. So even if you're just learning steps in the studio, learn them to your fullest ability. You can't give your best if you don't know what your best is. So find out what your best is when you're in the studio. I'd also like to add, I think, we talk about working hard, obviously, but there's something to be said about resting hard as well. Back in ancient Greece, there's this elite group of Spartans, and they were from Sparta, and they just had this amazing rest to work ratio. And I think we can apply that in dance. So yes, we need to work hard, but we need to take care of our body, like Nicole said, and we do need to come down and sleep and rest and get off of our cell phones at night and go to bed and hydrate and do the things that are really important, so that when you get on stage, you feel like $1,000,000.
Great advice. And this leads to the next one, which is the mental action. How do you deal with nervousness, and how do you deal with the fear of making a mistake? Like, how did you get the mental preparation? You've got your physical. What do we do mentally, Nicole?
We all make mistakes. We're human. And the sooner you understand that mistakes happen, I've forgotten choreography on stage. I've gone to the wrong spot on the stage. My tap shoe has flown off of my foot multiple times. I've had taps fly off of my shoes. And that's, it happens. But if you just go out there and do your best, have fun. I always say, I want you to live your best life on stage. And if you're going out and you're performing for you, and you can come off stage and say that you've done your best, then that's all that matters. And in terms of nervousness, we all get nervous. It's a part of life. But if you find your why and you just go out there and do your best and live your best life on that stage, I think that'll help with trying to combat a bit of that nervousness that we all feel.
Good advice, Rob. How about you? What would you add to that?
I think it's not the fear of making a mistake, because like Nicole said, we're all human, so we're going to make mistakes. It's how we handle making that mistake and how we handle creating something else to get over that mistake. That's the beauty of live theater and live performances, is that we don't get 17 takes to get it right on a movie. So we only get one take. And yes, you're going to make mistakes. In tap, you're going to miss some sounds. In tap, you might be off rhythm by a little bit. You may not be hearing the music the proper way. It's how we handle it and how we get over it in that moment. So in the studio, if you stop and you freak out about it, then, I always say to my kids, are you going to do that on stage? And they're like, no. Then I said, get back into it, Improv classes, we're always so worried about doing improv classes for contemporary. More improv in tap, in jazz, and other genres. Improv is improv. It's not contemporary exclusive. So, get used to throwing in some extra stuff and listening to your music, but get back onto it. It's as fast as you can get back onto that choreo that's been set for you. That would be my advice.
That's
Great.
Excellent. Nicole?
And
Shawn?
to add on with that, Rob, like I sometimes get a little philosophical, and with what Rob just said, it's how you respond. Like, we're all going to make mistakes. And honestly, what we're learning in dance and in tap really does apply to the rest of life, right? We're going to trip. We're going to mess up. Things are going to happen. Tap shoes are going to break. But do we freak out about it? Or do we respond accordingly? And I think that's gonna, as long as we remember that, life will still go on. It's okay. And as a judge, like Nicole said, we've all been there before. I've completely blanked out on stage and had to make it up. I've crashed into speakers. I've bumped into people. I've lost shoes. Like I had a tap that broke off my shoe. I still, to this day, don't know where it is. So things happen, right? But how you respond to it, and as long as you go into it knowing and you just breathe and know that, okay, I'm just going to share my best. I love dancing. That's all it's about. And I just want to show the audience that I just love dance. And that's it. We're going to connect with you that way. It's okay.
It's excellent. We've only got a couple minutes left, and I want to focus on what you talked about earlier, which is not just moving your feet, but using your entire body. Rob, can you expand on that a little bit and really give the dancer something to focus on?
Yep, absolutely. I've always said that tapping is speaking through dance, or dancing and speaking at the same time, with those taps making the sound. And I always say to my dancers is, when you speak, you do not speak in a monotone robotic voice. And like Shawn said, like it's an orchestra. So when you're speaking, you speak with your eyes. You speak with your face, you speak with your arms, and especially your hands. You're always talking with your hands. So if you're speaking with your feet, then you're going to be speaking with your entire body. It's only going to enhance it. You have an audience. You have to engage them. They don't want to see just feet moving. They don't want to see just one isolated little part. They want to be engaged to know that you're in it 100% and you're giving 100%. To really pull everything in.
Excellent. Shawn, do you want to expand on that at all?
Absolutely. Body language is key, and there's so much to be said about our eyes. we can see your eyes, we can see passion. It's just like when you meet somebody in real life, you look at them in their eyes, and their eyes are expressive, and they tell you a lot about how they're feeling and what's going on in their head and what's going on in their heart. And we can connect with you on stage if you're willing to look at us. A lot of times I'll find myself saying, look up, because we want to see you. We wanted to see that passion. It's okay if you mess up, but if we can look in your eyes and know that you want to be here and you're passionate about sharing this dance with us, then it just makes us teeth smile all day.
That's amazing. And Nicole, the last word, what would you add to that?
I like to explain it as ducks underwater. So you have a duck and it's gliding along and you have no idea what's going on underneath the water, but their feet are going like this. But their upper body is fluid and you have no idea how fast they're working underneath. So I love it when I see a dancer on stage and I refer to them as ducks, because they're so fluid up top, their arms are moving, they're performing, they're smiling, their head is lifted, but their feet are just making beautiful music. And when someone can perform like that and make it look seamless, they have my heart.
That's a great visual. I'll never see a duck again or a tap dancer without thinking of a duck. I love it. Well, thank you guys for joining us. This went so quickly. I want to do this again, and we talked about setting it up. It's just a joy. You bring so much passion to what it is that you do, and as Shawn said, I think that if the dancers convey that, they're always going to win. So it may not get the highest score, but they're always going to win because they are doing something they care about. So thank you so much for joining us. We are going to have you guys back again. This went really quickly, but you guys
so
have a great rest of the week, and we will talk soon. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
I hope everybody enjoyed that. That was really entertaining. I really enjoyed it. Thank you to Shawn Byfield, Nicole Dymianiw, and Rob Jensen for that.